Hello and welcome to the May social media update from Avocado Social. My name is Alison. If you haven't met me before, then I am a social media consultant and founder of Avocado Social. Avocado Social is going to be 10 next year, which I can't believe. We've been offering social media strategy, consultancy and training for the past decade across a wide range of different clients, as you can see here. So one of the things that I'm really keen on is making sure that my community, all of my clients, are absolutely on top of everything that's been going on in social media. And so I've been providing these monthly updates, and for the month of May, these are the big updates that I wanted to talk about in today's session. So I will be whizzing through these updates, so make sure you've got your notepads at the ready, but also I will be opening the floor to Q&A at the end. So if you do have any additional questions for me, you are very welcome to ask. So let's jump straight to it then. The first update I wanted to show you all is the latest stats. So as of April 2023, Facebook is still the most popular social media platform in the world. Some of you might be surprised by that, given that Facebook does get a bit of a negative rep in the media. A lot of people like to predict the death of Facebook, but it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. I don't know if you can spot any platforms that you maybe don't quite know what they are or what the names are. Maybe you don't recognize them. A lot of those may be Chinese or Russian social platforms that aren't available around the rest of the world. So ones like Weibo, WeChat, Douyin. I'm not going to try and pronounce them all, but that's what they are. One big platform that's missing from the list there is LinkedIn. And I've got some updates to tell you about LinkedIn in a few moments' time, but they are very much in the top 10. They just don't release their stats publicly. So it's very much up to them as and when they decide to make their member numbers public. So looking at a little bit further into this report, you can see that Facebook is still the biggest driver of web traffic referrals from any other social media platform, which is really interesting to bear in mind. And this should be informing your platform strategies. If your objective is to drive traffic back towards your own website, then Facebook seems to be one of the best ways of doing this. Other platforms, we look at Instagram here and Twitter. Instagram has ever so slightly creeped in front of Twitter in the last few months. So that link in bio definitely works as a way to drive traffic back to your website, but also you are able to now add a link to your stories as well. So you can add a stories sticker on Instagram. Interesting to see, platforms like LinkedIn, that really surprised me, 0.4% year-on-year change in terms of how they are driving traffic back to websites as well. If you want to keep on top of the global state of social media and digital marketing, then I really recommend this report to take a look at. It's a free report. It's called Digital 2023. And it's produced by a social media agency called We Are Social. I'm dropping the link in the chat right now for you to go and have a look at. And they update these figures every few months as well. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. Okay, so this update is fresh off the press because this happened yesterday. Meta announced that they are now opening up their API so that third-party tools can auto-publish stories. So if you're a social media manager who likes to schedule, then this is a really important one for you. Previously, you could schedule stories through a third-party app like Hootsuite or Buffer or Later. But what you had to do was when it came to the time of your story being ready to go live, that is when you would need to republish that story into your feeds on Instagram. So it didn't happen automatically, something that very much happened behind the scenes. So now Meta has made the change And we've already seen social media scheduling platforms promoting the fact that auto post Instagram stories are now available. So everybody moved really quickly on this. This really surprised me that the announcement came and then suddenly all of the platforms were supporting it. So if you are using a social media scheduling platform like Sprout Social, Buffer, Later, Agorapulse, I mean, the list is endless in terms of these scheduling tools, you are now able to auto schedule a story, and that story will go live without you having to do anything. So why did that change come about? Well, I was quite surprised because Instagram and Facebook have always said that they want your stories to be in the moment pieces of content that are far more off the cuff. But this is actually a most requested feature of Instagram users, particularly because a lot of us are planning to create stories to promote maybe events or product launches, and we are actually creating those stories ahead of time, maybe making those graphics or creating those photos. So they're not so in the moment as Instagram first envisaged stories to be for. So I think that's really exciting, and I'd love to know your thoughts. Are you going to be using scheduled stories, or is it something you're very much going to keep posting off the cuff? Just a reminder on stories, across most platforms in which they're available, the idea of using stories is to engage your current followers. So stories is a brilliant way of keeping your current followers up to date on all things your business and brand. If you're looking to reach new followers and create a bigger increase in your followers, then stories isn't the best strategy. Something like Reels or concentrating on your feed is more important for deriving new followers. Best practice would be a blend of both. Ideally, you'll be showing up, creating something fresh in social media every day if you want to see maximum growth. So lots of clients over the last few months have been asking me about a new social media platform that has risen out of nowhere. I'm wondering if you guys know what that is. It's, of course, Bluesky. So have you heard of Bluesky? It's an app that is backed by Twitter's founding member, or Twitter's co-founder, I should say, Jack Dorsey. So you might have heard of Jack Dorsey. He was quite a prolific co-founder and then MD of Twitter. He was the last MD before Elon Musk took over. He has now left Twitter. Bluesky was actually a project that Twitter was working on, and he has actually left and taken Bluesky with him. So it is now a competitor to Twitter. I've been asked about it quite a lot over the last few weeks because at the moment, getting a Bluesky invite is something that is absolutely hot. So there is a wait list to join Bluesky. It's not just open for all. So very much how Clubhouse launched a couple of years ago. And Bluesky is a decentralized platform. So that means that essentially there is no kind of owner of it. It is monitored and run by different servers. So people can run different servers on the platform, very much like Mastodon, which was rising in popularity at the beginning of the year. At the moment, Bluesky is an invite-only beta app available on iOS and Android. You can access it via desktop. That changed in the last few days. So you can actually log on via desktop. And the idea is that you post text and photos very much the same as Twitter. So like Twitter, user profiles can have a header image, a profile picture, and a bio, and you get to see each other's follower counts. I actually managed to get my hands on a Bluesky invite just yesterday, and I joined Bluesky, and my thoughts very much are, it looks exactly like Twitter. So I love the fact that the contributing editor of the tech website ZNet described Bluesky as Twitter without the crap. So the feeling of Bluesky, everybody's attitudes is very positive at the moment. It's a nice community to be in. You actually decide on what content you see and how the algorithm works as well. And you can make the call on in terms of whether you're seeing an algorithmic based feed, or whether you're seeing everything in real time. And also it's really easy to change between hosts as well. So unlike Mastodon, where you had to choose which server you wanted to be on and then stay there, on Bluesky, it's a lot easier to kind of move around different servers. So my advice is, if you are on Twitter, if you are still using Twitter and maybe are thinking about alternatives, then Bluesky is definitely one to watch. It's still very small at the moment. It has 50,000 users as of April. So it is a tiny, tiny, weeny social platform compared to some of the other giants. So it might very much be a wait and see situation and see how this platform evolves. But it's great to see that there are already alternatives being created to Twitter. So I must say that it is looking like the demise of Twitter will happen over the next few years, but I think it's going to take a while to disappear. They have actually just announced a brand new MD. So if you haven't seen that announcement, that was made a few days ago, who is committed to kind of really improving the Twitter ads offering. And she's already said that her number one priority is basically sorting out ads on the platform and how they work and how they target and making them better. So I think, it's really interesting, the state of Twitter at the moment, and to see how it could be improving and evolving. Are you still using Twitter? Let me know in the chat. I've always loved to hear. I would say a mixture between my clients of evaluating it and deciding it's not necessarily working well for them, versus continuing on and seeing what results they can get from Twitter over the coming months. Okay, moving on to the next trend as well. There's just another screenshot of Bluesky, by the way, for anyone who is interested. It looks exactly like Twitter, doesn't it? It's almost like, how could they get away with that? So the next big announcement, which you may have seen, is that LinkedIn just celebrated its 20th birthday. This is what LinkedIn looked like when it launched. Can you believe it? But LinkedIn actually released some really interesting stats a few days ago to align with their 20th birthday. They have announced that they are now almost at 1 billion users. So really interesting to see LinkedIn join the 1 billion club. They're, of course, joining giants like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube. Those are pretty much everyone that's over 1 billion at the moment. And LinkedIn are now pretty much in the club. The one that caught my eye in terms of the stats that I saw released around LinkedIn's birthday is that LinkedIn now has 3 times as many users as Twitter. So it really has taken the crown of being the #1 business-to-business communications platform. I'm obsessed with LinkedIn at the moment, I must say. I check it every day, probably multiple times a day. I find it fantastic for building my brand, for driving new leads. It's great for connecting with others in the industry, for staying on top of the latest news. So LinkedIn, which was maybe seen as perhaps a boring social platform pre-pandemic, has really evolved, and I'd say taken advantage of the fact that everybody was in lockdown in 2020 and moved so much of that networking and communication in industry onto the platform. So it's worth having a look at their kind of historic timeline. I'm just about to share the link in chat. So if you're interested in LinkedIn and kind of where they've come over the last 20 years, then do go and have a look at this nice little infographic that they released on their birthday. Some of the latest changes that we're seeing with LinkedIn is this rise of the creator profile. So if you are interested in thought leadership or creating a bit more of a presence for some of your employees, then having a creator profile is the one to go for. This actually helps to increase your visibility on LinkedIn. Your posts get seen by more people. And also, A creator profile gives you access to some cool features such as going live, creating live audio events, which I think are really interesting, and also being able to create and send newsletters, which are these within LinkedIn alert systems to kind of news that's going on from your business at the moment. So lots and lots going on with LinkedIn. And like I said, I'm really enjoying LinkedIn at the moment. I don't know about you guys, and seeing some great results. Also, interestingly, getting more and more inquiries about LinkedIn ads as well. They've always traditionally been seen as very expensive alternatives to other platforms, but I'm definitely finding you can get cheaper cost per click results if you use your own data. So if you're using your website visitors, your email subscribers, and using that matched audience or custom audience, as it's known, as your audience profiling, and that can get you cheaper results on LinkedIn. One of the rumors that's circulating social media at the moment is that LinkedIn is getting ready to launch company INMAIL. So at the moment, you can send inbox messages to other LinkedIn users, but you cannot send inbox messages to companies, and companies can't send inbox messages to other companies either. This is looking like it might change. So one of these screenshots here was spotted and shared, looking like you can suddenly allow members to message your page. That could be really interesting for lead generation, any kind of customer service, and also great for recruitment as well. So if you are hiring at the moment, you could ask people to message you with their CVs as just a really quick way to drive as many applications as possible. So keep your eyes peeled for this one. It's not launched yet, but I think it probably will be coming soon. And actually, I don't know about you guys, but it's kind of mad that they don't offer this one already. When I saw this piece of news, I was quite surprised that it was something that LinkedIn hadn't launched yet. Okay, so one of the big updates that's happening over on Meta is they're having a big shakeup when it comes to shops. So one of the big announcements that has happened over the last week or so is that shops on Facebook and Instagram are changing and kind of updating. These changes are mainly happening in the US. So if you are based in the US, this is really important to understand now. Basically, there is an offering in the US at the moment called Checkout. And Checkout is where a user can click on one of your products in Instagram or Facebook, get to that product page, and then they can purchase that product without leaving Facebook or Instagram. So in many countries at the moment, you actually have to go through to the merchant's website, which is where you make your purchase. But in the US, you can make that purchase without leaving, and that's called Checkout. Checkout is something that Meta has been testing for a while now, and they have just announced that businesses will no longer be able to host a shop on their Facebook page or Instagram unless the shop has checkout enabled in the US. And that's something that is happening only in the US right now. So basically, if you're based in America and you have a shop, but you don't have checkout enabled, you won't be able to continue using the shop tab on Facebook or Instagram unless you do enable checkout. Now, that's not necessarily going to be free to have. It will require a subscription or some sort of percentage of your profits. That's not yet been announced by Meta, but this is big changes to be aware of. If you're based in markets including the UK, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, or Ukraine, you can continue to use shops until further notice. So you don't need to make any changes with your Instagram or Facebook shops. But all of this is a big move by Meta to improve in-stream buying. What they really want to do is to promote usage of their expanding shop ads. So they're going to start using more ad formats to drive people to make purchases within these apps. So social commerce isn't going anywhere. It's rising across different platforms, and Facebook are almost kind of forcing it upon quite a few businesses in the US that you do need to offer checkout within the apps. I think if you've got a shop and you're based in one of the other markets where the changes aren't happening yet, my advice would be really start to understand how much your shop can drive sales for you. Try using things like collections, as we can see here on screen. Both Mac and Nike are really good at showing collections and putting together bespoke collections based on events or celebrations and holidays, and really cherry picking these amazing wish lists for their users to put together. Try adding tags to stories, reels, and your feed posts, just to see what the impact is at the moment. Because when it comes to the decision of whether you want to pay to use checkout, it will be useful for you to know just how many sales you can make via these channels. I mentioned there that Meta will be introducing more shopping ads into their range at the moment, and some of these ads will be utilizing AI. So they're getting really creative as to what these ads might look like. I really liked this example of an ad from Mac where you could actually try on different shades of lipstick using AR functionality, augmented reality, as part of this ad, with the really clear call to action to shop now. So this is just how kind of advanced some of these ads are getting. And I think we're going to see more and more of this. Other things that are coming to shops, if you are using shops, these announcements might be interesting. They're going to start testing tools like ratings and reviews. So that will be something that I'm sure a lot of businesses will be chasing. Via email opt-in. So if you purchase a product like a lipstick, you can opt into the email from Mac straight away as you purchase, which is really interesting. And also dynamic product pages. So the product page will change based on user preferences, and basically Meta will work out what the best possible experience is for your customers when they're landing on your product pages within the apps. So some really interesting stuff happening here. Okay, on to our next trend then, which is Instagram anthems. So I think on every social media update that I have presented so far this year, I've mentioned using trending audio. You can use trending audio on either your TikToks or your Reels, and both platforms are offering more and more ways to make it easy to find out what is trending. Let's start with Instagram. Instagram has started a little series on their creators profile. So this is the profile where they offer lots of tips for creators, but great for businesses to have a look at as well. And this theme is called Instagram Anthems. So every week they are putting together the top 8 to 10 songs that are on Reels right now and are trending, and telling you the names of the artists and the tracks so that you can go and find them and add them to your Reels. Now, remember that the reason why it's important to use trending audio is this can give you a massive boost in visibility within the Reels feed. Now, the only downside to this theme here, this Instagram Anthems content theme, is that some of these tracks aren't available for businesses to use. So it can be slightly frustrating to see a list of trending tracks only to realize that you can only use one of them, for example. But I think that Instagram will get better at sharing more accessible music for businesses to use as well. So always just keep an eye out for what is available, what's not available. If you've come across a track that you want to use and it's not available for commercial purposes, Instagram won't actually allow you to physically add that track to your reel. So don't worry, you won't end up posting something illegal. You actually just physically won't be able to do it. Other updates that are happening with Reels, while we're talking about Reels, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but the editing functionality is improving. So that is something that a lot of creators and businesses have complained to Instagram about that it's actually quite hard to edit a reel sometimes in the editing functionality. Well, just yesterday, some updates were announced. There are some features happening within the Reels editor. So there is a new editor, which you may or may not have seen in the Reels section of Instagram. The editor brings together video clips, audio, stickers, transitions, and text into one editing screen. So you can kind of easily trim your video, rearrange it, add audio, etc. So more updates are being rolled out globally over the next few weeks. Those updates include split, which is where you can easily split a single clip into 2 clips, which is quite useful if you just want it to look a bit more fast-paced, add a bit more liveliness to your video. Just take one video and split it. You could then put a transition in between, like a blur or a fade, or you could put in a bit of text that pops up in between those 2 clips as well. There is a speed functionality as well, so you're able to speed up and slow down your clips far more easily within this editor, and you can see that just on the bottom row. There is that speed section. One of the ones that I'm really excited about is replace. So you'll be able to just take out a clip and put another one in the same place. So swapping that out without changing the timing or ordering of the other clips and audio really helps, because you might actually just want to change a certain element and then not alter the timing of how the audio appears. So all of these things are just meant to make editing Reels far more easier on Instagram. Of course, when we talk about Reels, we always tend to forget, or at least I do, that you can obviously create Reels on Facebook as well. And Facebook Reels have just this week added a new section into the Reels composer called templates. So you can easily discover templates created worldwide for Facebook. So this is something that has been quite a popular feature on Instagram for a while now. If you're watching a reel, you might notice the words use template crop up, which is a very easy way for you to copy the exact pacing, timing, and audio of someone else's reel, but just to swap in your own clips. And this is now available on Facebook too. So do go and check out that template section of the Reels menu next time you're logged into Facebook. The other thing that has changed to do with Reels, again on Facebook, is some of the new ad formats that Facebook is now offering on Reels. So Meta is making clicks to messenger ads available on Facebook Reels, which will enable businesses to drive direct DM contact via Reels on Facebook. More social media users are now sharing content in DMs, which we've known for a while now, as opposed to sharing publicly in news feeds. And this is a major shift in general online interaction. So Meta says that this is also translating to brand conversation, and a recent survey that they ran showed that almost 50%, that's half of Reels viewers, have made DM contact with a brand after seeing its short form video content. Wow. So Reels can absolutely drive people towards DMing you. So if that's the case, then why not maximize on this and create some ad formats that drive people to message you? And I loved this example from this university of really trying to utilize Reels ads here to drive people to message the brand. So moving on, let's talk about TikTok. I think with TikTok, we all know and have recognized for the last few months that they are moving towards becoming a competitor search engine to Google. A lot of people are starting their search experience using a TikTok search, particularly in the under 25 age group. And one of the things that I mentioned on our last month of updates is the fact that TikTok is now using a featured answer. So if there is a common question or phrase that is being typed into TikTok, then they are now featuring an answer based on what content already exists within TikTok. So how to keep bananas fresh, try typing that one in next time you're in TikTok, and you can see that they have a featured answer with a couple of bullet points plus a video that has already been sort of designed for that search engine results page. I've mentioned a number of times that we know Gen Z is using TikTok to find recipes, to find travel recommendations, to find workouts, to answer kind of common lifestyle questions as well. And the other thing that TikTok has launched in the last month is this new widget, which can sit on the home screen of your iPhone. So this search widget is a shortcut to the app search function. It's only available on iPhone at the moment. If you want to download the widget onto your phone, there are instructions on screen here from Carrie Rose on Twitter. And this is just a really powerful way to search for videos, sounds, hashtags, along with any of your favorite topics from the home screen of your phone. So if I was Google, I would be very worried right now, because it definitely looks like TikTok is looking to own the search landscape for young Gen Z audiences. Okay, if you've got any questions about that, then do let me know. I've been trialing it out a little bit so far, but maybe you didn't know about this one. Maybe you want to try out the widget and let me know what you think. So the other one that you may have been emailed about recently is this migration to GA4, the new Google Analytics. Google Analytics is getting a complete redesign. If you haven't looked at Google Analytics for a while, then you might not know about this one. But if you are logging into Google Analytics regularly, this is all over the current Google Analytics layout called Universal Analytics. Google Analytics has been warning us for about a year or so, maybe more than that now, that the new look GA4 is going to come out on the 1st of July 2023, and it will be default on that date. So there isn't, a process where, well, we're in the migration process at the moment where we should be moving over to the new GA4, but I don't know many people who have done that yet. What will happen is your old Google Analytics will stop processing new data. So this move will happen kind of automatically, but you do need to complete your setup. So you just need to make sure that your Google Analytics is set up with information about your website, that Google is able to read your website pixel easily. And also if you use conversion events, so if you've got particular activities that happen on your website that you track as conversions, you want to just make sure that those translate across to GA4 easily. Now they should be picked up easily, but sometimes these things don't always work the way we want them to. So it's worth just clicking on complete your setup in that email or logging into your Google Analytics and just checking everything over ahead of the 1st of July. If you want to know more about GA4, then there are actually a ton of different webinars available from all kinds of people at the moment. I work with the Digital Marketing Institute, and they've got a webinar coming up in the next week or so on how to kind of get to know the new GA4. Google themselves are offering a number of free webinars, so you can have a look at their YouTube channel for more information, or within the Google help pages as well. There's plenty of help too. You should be able to find this kind of how-to guide, which is within your help section of Google Analytics. And this is where you can see all the steps that you need to take. And it does look quite overwhelming. I get it. And we're busy social media managers too, so we don't always have time for this kind of stuff. But it's very much something that I would recommend doing sooner rather than later, so that if you have any issues with it, you've got enough time before the 1st of July. You can make the change right now. So I actually have one client that has fully gone over to GA4 and did so a few months ago. So you can do that. But do go and basically explore and have a look. my advice always is you should be looking at your Google Analytics at least once a month, just to understand how people are utilizing your website, how traffic's coming into your website, what people are doing when they land on your website, what impact different marketing activities are having on your website traffic, whether that's influencers, social media, Google paid, email marketing. There's so much to learn from looking at your data in GA. And so GA4 doesn't actually look that scary. I've had a good look around and I'm confident to say that it is quite straightforward. You can still very easily see how people are coming to your website, like you can see here. And also, if you have got conversion events set up, then you'll be able to see items like how many people are making a purchase, how many people are contacting you, how many people are downloading a brochure. It's just a case of getting it all set up, ready to give you that information. So I would strongly advise you go and have a look at GA4 as soon as you can. Sarah's asked, could you share a link to the Digital Marketing Institute webinar? Absolutely. When I send out the recording of today's session, which I will do via email to you all, I will also pop in a link to that webinar so you can go and have a look, and also a link to some of the help pages about migrating to GA4. But put that date in the diary, try and get it done at some point over the next month so that you feel ahead of the curve. And do make sure that you are assessing the data and Google Analytics regularly. Okay, so the final trend I wanted to talk about today is really around meta ads. So I do a lot of consultancy around Facebook and Instagram advertising, and I work with a number of different brands on their social media advertising output, trying to improve their campaigns and make sure that they're getting better results and spending less. And one of the things that has really been quite a trend lately when I've been talking to different advertisers is how your campaigns are optimized. So what I'm definitely finding with Facebook, or I should say meta ads, is that they are looking at your objective that you set up at the beginning of your campaign, and they're really driving you as much results as possible based on that one objective. So usually your objective would be something like awareness, website clicks, or conversions, something like that. There are more, but those are the three most common objectives that I find. And I'm definitely finding that a few people are perhaps getting a bit confused about maybe why they're not seeing so many website clicks when they optimize for conversions, or why they're seeing perhaps not enough sales coming through when their objective was awareness. So I just wanted to reiterate the fact that the meta ads algorithm prioritizes your ads based on your objective. So getting your objective correct is really important. And the other thing that you really do need to make sure you've got set correctly is this performance goal section. And this appears just underneath where you set your budget. And your performance goal is you telling the algorithm what you want to happen. Maximize the number of, and then you've got some options, whether you want people to view your landing page, to click on the link to your website, to maximize the reach of your ads every day, or to maximize the overall number of impressions, that's views. So get that performance goal set correctly, and Facebook will try and get you the most of that particular goal at the cheapest possible cost. So those are just a couple of things to have a look at if you're running your meta ads and maybe you're finding they're not working as well as you thought they would, or perhaps you think there's ways to get them working more successfully. Do check your objective and check your performance goal as well. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that I'm definitely finding across different campaigns I'm running that maybe you're not getting, or some of my clients aren't getting massive visibility in areas that they would expect that they would. So I've actually had 2 calls in the past week with clients who haven't been getting much reach or results on Instagram, when Instagram is their strongest channel organically. The reason for this is when you are targeting multiple placements with your ads across both social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook, Facebook will be looking for where you can get the cheapest results. And often the cheapest results are on Facebook. So that is why it's important, if you know that Instagram is a strong platform for you, to actually break out your Facebook ads and your Instagram ads separately and run those alongside each other using separate budgets, because then you can really maximize on that budget and make sure that you're getting as much visibility as possible. In this particular example, this client did just that. They ran their ads just on Instagram, and they were hoping that they would get maximum visibility in Reels. But you can see here that looking at the results, Reels has only driven them 1 landing page view, whereas Stories has driven them 45 landing page views. So that's quite interesting, given that the ad itself was a Reel, and we really thought that this would work within the Reels ads format. And my learnings from this is actually, if you really want to create a Reels ad and make a good go of it, then only run that ad in that placement. So remove all the other placements such as feed, stories, home, explore, and just run that ad as an Instagram Reels ad. And that has already improved the results of this campaign as well. So interesting learnings as always. And, I'm always learning with Facebook ads as well. I think one of the key things is you just got to keep testing and keep trying different things and seeing what works best. If you're interested in working with me, perhaps on a monthly basis, then we do offer monthly consultancy for a wide range of businesses, which involves a 1 hour a month catch up, looking at your strategy, looking at how your campaigns are performing. And I'm giving you as many tips and pieces of advice to implement as possible. So if you're interested in that, then do get in touch. We certainly have a couple of spaces for some new members this summer. Otherwise, then I'd love to hear more from you guys about what you want me to cover, maybe some of your own personal objectives as well. So you're welcome to join our Facebook group and let me know what you want to see more of in our next update. I run these monthly, so if you want to come and sign up to the next one, we only have, I think we only release 100 places, so you have to be quite quick in terms of grabbing your spot. And as always, you can find out more about what we do at Avocado Social on our website. Thank you so much for joining today. If you have got any questions for me, then you are welcome to ask them right now, either on chat, or if you want to come on camera and feeling brave, then please do pick my brains. But if not, then hope to see you on the next session, and look out for the links in your inbox to the recording, the Digital Marketing Institute GA4 webinar, and links to any other useful resources in your inbox over the next 24 hours.